Alright guys, this is Death Limbo, and first off I want to say guys, I'm sorry it took so long. I've been going through so much shit, and I got another job, part-time, and I've been really like trying to focus on that. And not only that, but this figure was a bitch to make. And for the reason being, I'm going to show you guys what happened with this guy, but he was a mission. Over 90% of his body was sculpted. Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry I took so long. Those were not my intentions. Hopefully I will not take as long. But at the same time, like I said, you guys kind of pushed me to do it better, kind of. So I do push myself a little bit more, like, oh, I can add this or I can add that. So even though it's finished, I still want to do more. But even then, it's like, I don't know. Anyways, all right, let's get this guy started. So first off, I was walking down the street. I was walking in my comic book store, and I saw. This was when the whole Iron Man 2 was coming out. I saw the variant covers, and it really captured my eye when I saw Thor 609. I was like, it's a Viking Iron Man. It was really great art. I fell in love with it. I was like, that would be a cool custom. So I just, figured I'd put it in my mind and whatnot. Time flew by, and I went into my comic book store again, and I saw the 2-pack, the Conan and the Raw. Is that I don't know how you guys say that. I don't know how you pronounce it. The 2-pack legendary comic book heroes from Toy Biz, and that's the base figure that I used for this guy. And he is a pretty big tall. I don't know if you can, he's not really all the way in there in my frame, but yeah, I used that guy, and I said, you know what, this guy would be the perfect for this Viking. And he is a pretty heavy figure, but yeah, let's take a look. Originally, I wasn't gonna do cloth, but I went with it, and I was like, why not? And that was towards the end of the stage, as I was finishing the figure. Same thing goes with the knife. This is actual real knife, but we'll go later into that. Now let's take off. His helmet is removable, as you can see, and yes, it's not comic book accurate. I wanted him to be a little bit more demonic, more like a death dealer. I really was, me. I always got to put my own twist into my own figures, and yeah, let's get this started. So let's take this off. Let me see if I can. All right, now. So for the sculpting wise, I sculpted pretty much all of his armor. This right here, I sculpted all that. This, at the back of his calves, upper thigh, all this right here. I remember sanding it down and then using epoxy sculpt. What else? Oh man, this right here. Let me tell you guys, this right here. Oh boy, this was a mission. I remember it took me one full day just to do one side. I woke up the next morning, I didn't like it. It took me another full day, but it's like Warwick said. It's you. Well, you are when you get stressed out. I mean, I was stressed out about this figure. This figure made me go through hell and back. And he said that when you're stressed out about figures, you do it's because you love them. It's your passion. It's what you do, and it's true. He's right. I mean, there were times where I was just like I was like, God damn it, this thing's not looking the way I want it, and it's just not right. And I would start all over, and this is what I was aiming for right here. I sculpted all of this in there too, top one here too, all his chest right here, even his energy beam, or whatever you call it, and all of this as well too. I mean, all of this is epoxy sculpt. This as well, all this right here, and I gave him scratches too. Like I said, I wanted him to look, not battle damage, but just worn. I sculpted all this. Pretty much everything that the other Raw figure doesn't have. I sculpted a lot, and it took a lot of time and patience, and the rivets or the bolts, whatever you want to call them, I did those as well. All of these, and even in there, as you can see, let's see if I can show you all these, even these, and some of these here too. All that, and yeah, that was a fucking mission. The back here as well, I did it all around from here all the way over here. Here, all this was sanded it down, and I sculpted it just to make it look more armor-like. And that took a while in itself. That took a long-ass time for me in general. I took way too long for that. I was like, you know what? By the end of it, when I figured it, I was like, yeah, that's it, and I figured that was it. I was done. But then I looked at the legs, and I totally forgot about this, and I was like, you know what? I think I'll paint them. Then again, I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? No, it's why don't I just sculpt it or try to sculpt it? And originally, what I started doing was I used wire. And all this right here, this was a mission, guys. It really took me a long time. not only because I did it, you know, piece by piece, so like a wire all around and glued it all in place, and then overlapped it again with the other one, and with the wire cutters cut up the excess of it, and then sanded it down. But I came with a hiccup because in this joint right here, on this little part right here, I was gluing it, and all of a sudden it got. I finished it. You know, everything was good. I was like, all right, one leg done. I moved on to the next, and as I'm starting, I'm like, okay, I need to move this, and it wouldn't move. I was like, oh shit. And I noticed that actually a little drop of glue actually went inside in there, and I remember I was like, fuck, you know, all that work, all that hard work, and I tried my hardest, and it pissed me off. You cannot believe I was so bummed out. It really bummed me out. I figured, you know what, that was it. I was gonna give up. You know, I was actually gonna give up. All that time it took me to sculpt, to actually start this, and it was a mission. I was like, God damn it. So what I ended up doing was that actually I cut that and I took it out, and I actually dremelled out the other half of the glued rubber, the glued hinge, and it was a mission. I remember putting on sculpting the other half of the hinge, the circle and whatnot, and it wouldn't stick. That was it took me like 2 days, and then all of a sudden on the third day I was like, you know what, I'm just going to cut the whole circle, glued another one, sculpted some of it on top so it could harden it up, and when I put it together it worked, and it was even better because this joint here was kind of loose, and now it's like actually a lot, you know, better. And I don't know, guys, I look at it now and I'm like, fuck it, I'm very happy that this figure is finished, you know, very happy. And as I was doing this figure, you know, as for me to get myself into the mode of the whole Viking and whatnot, I was watching Conan the Barbarian just to get in the whole mood of it, you know, and at the same time I was watching the 13 Warrior. I don't know if you guys have seen that, and pretty good gore ideas that I had. I was like, yeah, you know, this is pretty cool. And yeah, you know, that when I finished that was it. I was like, you know what, that's cool. Washed it, sanded it down, a couple more things, and other than that, that was good. You know, that took a long time, believe me, guys. And for the head, I took off. I originally was going to do a Tony Stark head and then kind of give him a whole like Viking look with a long beard or something. But, I moved my camera. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see if I can adjust it. And originally, I was going to do the Tony Stark head. But I said, you know what, fuck it, I'll do it like a whole Death Dealer. And at the same time, I was into that whole Frank Frazetta art. Started checking that stuff out. And I got a Spawn figure that I've had a while back. I cut it off, made it into a Marvel Legends style head. It had horns. Like, it looked like a fucking demon, dude. I think it was a demon. It had the whole, I don't know what series it was, but it had the whole wings and everything. I don't know if you guys can tell me at the bottom of in the description, in the links, in the comments. And yeah, I sanded it all down, put on the head. When I looked at it, I was like, sweet. It looks demonic. You know, it looks the way I want it to be. You know, really kind of Death Dealer-ish. You know, guy that comes in once in a blue moon to show everybody what really hell is like and whatnot. And yeah, that was pretty much it for the whole sculpting and the this mission right here. After I finished that, I started the whole process of the paint, and that was let me tell you guys, it wasn't as tedious, but it did take me a while, for the reason being that I painted it all silver, all the armor silver, and then used clear red. Now I liked it a lot. I thought it looked good, but then again I was like, you know what, it's too shiny. It's way too shiny. I didn't like that at all. I was like, you know what, it's too shiny. I kind of want to give him a dirty look. Kind of beat up in the rain, been in many wars, pillaging whatever you want him to pillage and shit. And yeah, so originally what I ended up doing was black wash all over it, and to give it to kind of take away the whole, so I can show you the whole shininess. It still has some shininess, but not completely, and you can see some dark spots. You know, I kind of wanted to give it kind of not rust, but more like dirt, mud, and rain. You know, all this blood put together and whatnot, and as always, you know, I give him the whole scratches and whatnot of his armor. You know, kind of wanted to give him like this piece broken, this is all scratched up, you know. And at the bottom, I remember I was like, you know what, he should look like he's in the comic, in the cover, he actually looks like he's in water, and I figured, you know what, he should be all, his boots and his armor should be all filled up with what do you call it, mud and whatnot. And same thing goes for the loincloth. You know, I sculpted even the back. I used the back of it as dirt, you know, to try to make it look as kind of dirty, right out of the water kind of look. And yeah, you know, I like the way it came out with the whole look. Now, some of the special things that not special, but just some of the things that I really had to take I figured that if I didn't take care of in the beginning was this right here is made out of soft rubber. That right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, yeah. And it's made out of soft rubber for the reason being that if I would have done it hard, it wouldn't have actually, like, it would have hit, and every time it would have scratched off and some of the paint, and I figured, you know, I'll do that. And in the comic, in the Thor, I also used this one right here. In the Thor variant cover, it's actually all the way down here, the armor down there. But I was like, you know what? There's no way of mobility. There's nothing like that. It would just hinder the mobility like crazy. So I decided just to put epoxy sculpt over here, and I epoxied it over a soft rubber material to kind of give him some more mobility, so he wouldn't be limited. And I think it came out looking pretty good, you know. And I used real leather, kind of like my Ninja Turtle. That was always a plan in the beginning. I was going to use real leather, you know. Goes all the way back as well. And yeah, you know, that took me a while. And what else? So originally I wasn't going to use any cloth. I was just going to use the same Wrath Rawl. He had like this whole skirt around, and I figured I was going to use that. But you know, as I went along, I was like, you know what, it would look better if he actually had cloth. And it's actually movable. You can see, move it around and whatnot. And it's actually held by leather. And so is this back thing here. I actually dirtied it up and bloodied it up, and it's still cloth, you know. And it's not, I wouldn't really call it a cape. I would call it more as a, I don't know, like decoration kind of. I mean, fucking guy looks like fucking fucked up. But yeah, you know. And I don't know, you can't really see it, but all the blood in him, all the splattered blood and whatnot, I went over it with a gloss to give it a whole shiny kind of look. It gave him kind of a fresh blood squirting out of people's heads or whatever, throats and whatnot. And you can't really see it on the figure, but yeah, I did do that. Now also another thing, for this right here, it was actually supposed to be flat, but I actually broke it accidentally, and I remember when I was gonna glue it back on, it actually stayed like that, and I was like, hey, that looks pretty cool, pretty original. I was like, why not just leave it like that? And it worked out in the end, because when I had to put the leather piece, the leather strap, it stayed. So I was like, sweet, I can just put it in there. It's quick and easy. Now for the his unibeam, God, I don't know what you call it. Whatever you guys can say in the comment. For this, I painted it inside and whatnot in bluish, grayish, kind of white in there, and I put like a clear plastic, glued it and sanded it down, and to make it look like, you know, like it's actually like glass.